the worst one-month job loss in American history.
We still have a high level of infection in this country.
We are launching a trial here in the U.S.
Georgians deserve answers.
Good morning and welcome to Sunday Today on this May 10th. I'm Willie Geist. A very happy Mother's Day to all of you moms out there. We will celebrate appropriately this morning. But first, let's get you caught up on the latest coronavirus developments. White House Task Force Dr. Anthony Fauci is among 3 top doctors now in self-quarantine after being exposed to a person with coronavirus. 2 people within the White House have tested positive for the virus within the past few days. Some welcome news for sports fans last night. The UFC held a slate of fights in Florida with no crowd in the arena. The night began with a taped address from President Trump congratulating the UFC on its return. Meantime, there now are more than 1.3 million cases of coronavirus here in the United States, and the death toll is approaching 80,000. But let's begin this morning with the overnight news from the White House that Dr. Anthony Fauci is one of 3 top doctors now in self-quarantine. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is at the White House with more. Kelly, good morning.
Good morning, Willie. Just as the White House is trying to send a message of going back to work with the president and vice president keeping their travel schedules, 3 of the most prominent medical voices in this federal response are doing the opposite, staying home, adhering to guidelines they hope other Americans will follow. 3 of the nation's top doctors following their own medical advice, choosing self-quarantine, as Dr. Anthony Fauci once prescribed.
The idea about self-isolating for 2 weeks will be very important.
Fauci plans a modified quarantine, mask wearing with limited outside contact, while CDC Director Robert Redfield and FDA Director Stephen Hahn will remain home for 2 weeks.
We have a powerful tool, a powerful weapon, that is social distancing.
Each taking these steps as a precaution after they were exposed to a person with coronavirus. New fallout from the second positive case this week inside the White House. Pence press secretary Katie Miller, who works closely with the task force. Late Saturday, a Senate committee expecting Redfield and Hahn to testify this week announced the White House granted a one-time exception, allowing them to appear by video conference. Around the White House grounds, new, unmistakable change. Face covering suddenly in use by a number of government employees. As the president conducted a national security session late Saturday,
we've had a very, very productive meeting.
Secret Service agents near President Trump covered their faces, but the president and military brass, who are all tested, did not. Mixed signals that can cause uncertainty with the virus inside the West Wing. The Washington Post reports aides deemed essential have been encouraged by supervisors to come into the office, not taking 14 days to self-isolate. A White House statement notes every precaution is taken, listing social distancing, temperature checks, regular deep cleaning, and daily testing. But it does not mention self-quarantine.
All right, Kelly O'Donnell at the White House. Kelly, thank you very much. Chuck Todd is NBC's political director and moderator of Meet the Press. Chuck, good morning. Good to see you as always. So you have Dr. Anthony Fauci, the face of this pandemic here in the United States, imposing a self-quarantine on himself for a couple of weeks. This kind of flies in the face of the signals the president has been giving all week, which is that we need to transition to greatness, as he tweeted, turning the page in the country to looking to open the economy. This is a president who really wants to refocus. As he said, that task force is going to be more about looking at the economy than on the public health questions.
You know, Willie, this week you watched this president and it felt like a weird plot twist in a horror movie, right? He wants to focus on reopening the economy, and it's almost like the virus had its own brain and it said, oh, no, you don't, Mr. President. I am coming inside your house. And so it was this stark reminder that it isn't a light switch that you can have. And it sort of, to me, put the spotlight on the president's sort of inattention to the issue of what do you do to help make people feel comfortable opening up the economy. You know, this whole thing, he has just been saying, let's go. Come on, governors, open it up. without ever acknowledging that it's going to take this, a dramatic increase in testing and tracing. And then, of course, we see the result in his own West Wing staff. So here we are. I think it puts a huge spotlight on this issue of a lack of testing.
And, of course, you can reopen the economy, but public polling shows that most Americans of all political stripes aren't quite ready to go back and resume life as normal until they get their arms around this disease. Chuck, thank you very much. We will look for much more from Chuck on Meet the Press this morning when the topic is public health versus the economy. On Friday, the Department of Labor delivered the worst monthly jobs report since the end of the Great Depression. The unemployment rate skyrocketing to 14.7% in April, with more than 20 million jobs lost in the month alone. And experts say that number probably is actually far worse. Andrew Ross Sorkin is a New York Times columnist and co-anchor of CNBC's Squawk Box. Andrew, good morning. Great to see you. So let's talk through these numbers. Obviously, 14.7%. We sort of knew something bad was coming, but devastating to see it actually on paper. The government has poured a ton of money, as you know better than anybody, into this problem, trying to help small businesses. What can be done at some point to blunt these numbers? Because a lot of people believe May could be even worse.
And, every one of these numbers has a name behind it and a family behind it. And I think oftentimes we get lost in these large statistics. But I think, the conversation you were having just before with Chuck, it's about confidence. It's about the risk appetite to some degree of the American people. And it ultimately should be about the science behind getting people back, whether that's testing, whether that's a vaccine, whether that's therapeutics. And I think that's the real question here as to when we talk about the statistics as being, are we in a Great Depression? We're not in a Great Depression yet. But if this persists for months, if this persists even longer than that, we will have a demonstrable problem and a real tragedy on our hands.
Andrew, is this just a problem perhaps that's bigger than the government can manage? As I said, more than $1 trillion of stimulus pumped into the economy, and yet we see these numbers.
Well, the problem is that at this particular moment, it's not just about money. It really is about providing confidence to people that they can go out, they can go to the store, they can go to a restaurant, they can do these things. And until people feel comfortable, and as you suggested, the polling numbers don't suggest it, but until they feel comfortable, it's going to be very hard to re-kickstart the economy. Unless you believe, and there are people out there who believe that the American people have a larger, quote-unquote, risk appetite. Now, some of that risk appetite may be economic desperation, in truth. You look at some of these statistics that came out on Friday, 22%, the real unemployment rate for people who don't have a high school diploma is 22%. If you have a college diploma, it's only 8.4%. So there are people who might be willing to go out there and take risk, and perversely, if they do, oddly enough, that's good for the economy.
Absolutely devastating numbers, and as I said, they may get worse from here. Andrew Ross Sorkin, thank you very much. Great to see you, my friend. We appreciate it.
Hey, great to see you.
And as we head to break, our photo of the week. This photograph is as close as you ever want to get to the Asian giant hornet, known as the murder hornet. It gained national notoriety this week when the New York Times reported murder hornets, which normally are found in Japan, had been spotted in Washington state. The hornet gained its not-so-subtle nickname because of the way it hunts honeybees and can sting through a beekeeper's suit with a potentially lethal strike. Many people online pointing out 2020, not really a good time for the murder hornet to buzz into our lives.